In this module, you will learn about paper and paperboard.
North American paper is made almost exclusively from cellulose fiber derived from wood. Paperboard, boxboard, cardboard, and carton board are used to describe heavier paper stock. ISO classifies paper by material weight. If the weight is greater than 250 grams per square meter or 51 pounds per 1,000 square feet, it is considered as paperboard. In the U.S., paper is classified by material thickness. If the thickness is over 300 micrometers or 0.012 inch, it is paperboard. This definition is used in IOPP Fundamentals of Packaging book. Paper is used in a generic sense to include all thickness and also used for those with less than 300 micrometers or 0.012 inch.
Fourdrinier machine is a kind of papermaking machine. It is named after Henry and Celie Fourdrinier, 19th-century English papermakers. Furnish pours out of the headbox of a Fourdrinier machine and onto an endless wire or screen where excess water can be drained. The fibers remain trapped on the screen.
Another type of papermaking machine is cylinder machine. It can have several cylinders at which paper layers can be formed.
Cylinder board is a form of paperboard. It is produced using cylinder machines so several layers can be built into the paper. Various plies can differ. Thicker paper is used for folding and setup cartons.
When fiber and water slurry is deposited on a moving belt, the fibers tend to align in the moving direction or machine direction or MD. Paper is stronger in MD than the cross direction or CD. Paper is an isotropic material. Its properties differ depending on direction. Cylinder machines tend to align fibers more than Fourdrinier machines. Tensile strength ratios of MD and CD is about 2:1 for Fourdrinier board and about 4:1 for cylinder board. Calendaring is a method to make denser paper and to improve the caliper or thickness consistency. Several cylinders iron and smooth out the surface of paper stock.
Sizing and/or coating reduce the paper's tendency when dry to absorb liquid. The goal is to allow inks to remain on the surface of the paper and dry there without being absorbed into the paper. Starch is a typical surface sizing used to bind fibers together and reduce liquid penetration rate. Clay, calcium carbonate and titanium dioxide are used for surface coatings or pigment coating.
Caliper is paper thickness expressed in thousandths of an inch or points. 1/1000th is 1 point. 0.020 is 21 thousandths, which is 20 points. Weight is usually specified in pounds per 1,000 square feet. Is also known as basis weight. Grammage is the weight, grams, of paper in 1 square meter.
Paper is hygroscopic, meaning it absorbs and loses moisture according to the ambient RH and temperature. Paper equilibrium moisture content will vary slightly, depending if it is reached from lower humidity or a higher humidity. Typically, from lower humidity is used. Internationally, the standard condition are at 23 Celsius or 73.4 Fahrenheit and 50% relative humidity. Paper dimensions can change 0.8% in machine direction and 1.6% in cross direction between 0% and 90% RH.
This graph shows the effect of relative humidity on compression strength of corrugated boxes. The standard test environment is at 50% relative humidity. Thus, the strength at 50% RH is considered 100%. At 85% RH, the strength retained is only 60% of the strength at 50% RH. A drop of 40% is significant.
Paper exhibits viscoelasticity. The faster a load is applied, the greater the apparent strength. Over long loading duration, paper fibers move and distort. Known as creep, long-term static compression strength is much less than dynamic compression strength. A corrugated box with a 500 kg compressive strength under fast loading, dynamic, could fail in about a year under a 250 kg static load in the warehouse. 3 categories of paper for making recycled paper: mill broke, pre-consumer waste, and post-consumer waste. Mill broke is paper trimmings and other paper scrap from the manufacture of paper, and is recycled in a paper mill. Pre-consumer waste is a material which left the paper mill but was discarded before it was ready for consumer use. Post-consumer waste is material discarded after consumer use, such as old corrugated containers or OCC, old magazines, and newspapers. Paper suitable for recycling is called scrap paper, often used to produce molded pulp packaging. The industrial process of removing printing ink from paper fibers of recycled paper to make de-inked pulp is called deinking.
Paper can be recycled 5 to 7 times before the fibers become too short to be useful. As the fibers become shorter through the recycling process, the paper quality is lessened. Unbleached brown paper such as corrugated boxboard which does not require any de-inking can be recycled 10 to 20 times. Bleached grade papers such as newspaper, office waste etc. which will require de-inking can be recycled 5 to 10 times.
Formation is an indicator of how uniformly the fibers and fillers are distributed in a sheet. It affects most of the paper properties, including caliper, opacity, strength, etc. It also affects the coating capabilities and printing characteristics of the paper. A poorly formed sheet will exhibit more dot grain and a mottled appearance when printed.
I hope you have enjoyed this workshop so far.